Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome everyone. Today in the Get Talent Hackathon, we have a really special day. Today starts first the interpersonal skills and the soft skills training from today until the 10th day, from 10th of March until 14th of March. And we are going to have a journey between leadership skills and interpersonal skills, communication, project management, innovation tools, and entrepreneurship. And today, Aspire Institute is going to lead us in a journey of magic, a journey of leadership, how to be a charismatic leader, how to inspire your team, how to be a real game changer in your community and help your community. That's Aspire Institute, a non-profit organization based in Boston and founded at Harvard University. And today we will start with our keynote speaker, Meena. And Meena, she is the executive director of Aspire Institute, and she will tell us how this institute is going and still is transforming the lives of students and graduates around the world. Please welcome our keynote speaker, Meena. Please go ahead, Meena. As we say in Egypt, the ball is in your field. الكرة في ملعبك.
Yes, thank you about that. And thank you for inviting the Aspire team to speak with your students. I first of all want to acknowledge, your leadership in the not just the hackathon that you've pulled together for students you care about dearly, but you have been one of our biggest advocates and partner in spreading the word about Aspire Leaders program. And so I just want to acknowledge you for all the work you're doing for youth who are part of your community, and then also now involving us and our students. You'll hear more about the Aspire Leaders program from my colleague Jenna, who is here. She's our communications and outreach manager, and her latest addition to Aspire Institute, Hannah Rosa, who is working with Jenna and is going to be helping her with the outreach and communications. So let's see. I really am not here to sort of give a long talk because I'm not one for big speeches. I love to hear from who's in the audience. So I'm going to make this presentation be more conversational, which means that you all who are in the audience are no longer in the audience. We are all in this room together. And you're going to speak with me and I'm going to speak with you. And we're going to, in our conversation, uncover really what leadership means. Because in my mind, everyone has leadership qualities. And so that's what we're going to be discussing today. So let's see, we've got about 12 people in the room. So it's a pretty small group. Is it possible to see folks, or is it hard to turn your cameras on?
لو حد يحب يشاركنا الحوار ويشغل الكاميرا مرحب بيه في أي وقت يعني. اتفضلوا حضرتك.
I can turn my camera on, but I'm gonna need 5 minutes or so. Is that possible?
Of course.
Thank
it's
you,
a small group, so we have a little bit of time. And speak English, or would it be helpful if you'd be translating parts of it? What's the best way?
I think maybe we can try in English, and whenever there's something you need to translate, I can help.
Okay, so this is really up to the folks who are in the room. If you're not following what I'm saying, please stop me. and ask Mahmoud to translate or ask me to repeat if that's going to be useful. Because otherwise, I'm very mindful of this time that you have taken out of your busy life and have come here. So I also want to make sure that you're going to get something out of this. This is not for me alone, it is for you. Um, so if others are having difficulty turning your camera on, that's fine, but I hope your microphones can turn on so we can hear you. So let me start with this image. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So what is leadership? I'm going to talk about what is leadership, what a leader does, and then I want to hear from you all what you have seen. What is your definition of leadership? Because often when we think of leaders, you think of these amazing, world-renowned folks who have made an impact in the world, correct? We all know they're leaders, but they were not born that way. There were things they did that made them who they are, and and we remember them for who they are. So in my mind, if I think about leadership, you have to believe in a cause, and a cause that's bigger than yourself, that makes a difference not just in your life, but in the lives of many people. And so you think of Mother Teresa as a leader. Her cause was to end suffering for people who were not from the mainstream. She focused on people who had a very debilitating disease and an illness, and she took care of them. That was the cause. And how she did it? You have to be in action. We know of Dr. Martin Luther King. How did he make a change in the world? By enrollment. And what I mean by enrollment is getting people to buy into the idea, to believe in the idea of something that's going to make a change. He did not force it on people. He enrolled them in the idea, and that took action. The other thing is your own agency, which is your confidence. You have to have the confidence and belief that you can make a difference. And that's what Mahatma Gandhi did. He was a lawyer. He was studying in Africa, and he was asked to get out of a train because he looked different from people who were there. And that's when he said, I have to build my confidence to speak out against those who think I'm different. And he had to build agency. So what I mean by leadership is these three fundamental beliefs: building agency, having confidence, and getting others to buy into what you believe in, to believe in your idea. Because a leader cannot be making change on his or her own. It needs to have a group. Now, I'm not talking about a group as followers. I'm talking about a group that's enrolled. Because leadership happens not just top down. Leadership happens from all directions, where sometimes as a leader, you walk along with people. And other times you are behind the group, making sure that they're moving forward. And other times you're leading by example. So these are some sort of fundamental principles of understanding leadership. I can say a little bit about myself. I grew up in India, and India was it still is a very patriarchal society. And there was always, as a woman growing up in India, you had to constantly develop your agency. And that was the beginnings for me for being something more than what others were making me believe in my country. So that was part of my beginning. And I came here to go to school, and I studied architecture, and then I worked at Harvard, and then we started Aspire Institute. And my journey has not been a straight shot from one career to another. I started off in architecture, and then I was very interested in social issues. I went back to school. Then I worked as a volunteer in a nonprofit. Then I worked at Harvard, and then we started Aspire Institute. So you can see that the journey of any leader is also never straight. It takes you in different directions. It gives you different opportunities. And we'll talk about what that may look like. So I'm going to pause for a minute, and I want to hear from folks who are in the room, what is their understanding of leadership? Anyone? Thank you for joining in person. Would you like to share?
I think leadership is an action, not a position that you need some people to follow you. So you need to take the decision and allow the people to follow you and your talk.
Great. And can you share someone in your life that you think exhibits those qualities of a leader?
I think my father.
Say more.
Yes, my father is leader of our family. He tell us what should we do, but also he does that in front of us to learn from them and his experience in the family. So he need us to follow him. So he say in front of us what should we do, and he also do that.
Great. So here's another quality of a leader is your father is leading by example. He's just not telling you what to do. He is doing it. And that distinguishes someone who leads with authority and puts fear in people and tells them what to do versus someone who does. And in seeing what he's doing, in a way, it's also as a child, people know this too, right? I mean, we've all had this experience with our parents or siblings when someone says, oh, can you jump these 10 flight of stairs? And you're like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then your brother takes the jump. And then he's like, oh, he did it. I can do it. So he was a leader. You saw him jump those stairs. He didn't die. And you said, okay, I can do it. So it's, again, doing what you want others to do. Are you able to do the same thing? That's great. Thank you, Khalid. Someone else, please share someone in your life that you think is a leader in your mind and why.
I would share.
Go ahead.
I think I would say my mom, and I define leadership as someone who can take a challenge and find different solutions, like innovative solutions for everything, and leading by example, For example, my mom, when she solves any problem, she doesn't do it on her own. She leads, but she takes us with her. So that's how I would define it myself.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So tell me something, Maram. Give me an example or share with our friends in the room when you were in that kind of a situation where you were feeling afraid and you thought about your mother, that what would she do in this situation? What was that experience like for you?
I would say as soon as I finished high school, I didn't finish with good grades compared to the amount of effort I've given. So, and then at that time, I didn't really want to go to college, to be honest. I was like, no, this is over for me. And then my mom actually pushed me to do so, and I traveled abroad. So, yeah, she was the one who led me to be where I am today.
Terrific. Thank you for sharing. Who else would like to share? Example of a leader, and what was that like in your life?
Is it possible for me to share something?
Please.
Yeah. So I was blessed with many leaders that I experienced it in my life, but I just would like to take one very innovative example in education. And this is the principal of my elementary school, um, Miss Mahasen Lashin. Miss Mahasen Lashin was the principal of Al Giza Al Qawmiya, that means the National School of Giza. And she was not only a leader by example, she was not only a very disciplined person that loves everyone and respects everyone and she created an environment where we are motivated to learn, motivated to go to school. She also was very innovative. She made things I've never seen in any school in Egypt before. Like, for example, the very small thing, it doesn't have to be the big things. Before each exam, she goes by herself to each student before the exam, like 5 or 10 minutes before, and she gives us chocolate. And she tells us, like this, you can concentrate and make your best. So she gave us something that made us happy, and she motivated us that much in a time that we are feeling maybe afraid or maybe nervous or something. Not only that, she ordered that um, she did many things, but one of the things that she did, beside that, there is no hitting, there is no, in a time in the 80s, that a teacher like them punished the student by a stick or something. This was normal. It was something that is not accepted, especially if there is unfair treatment. She was always there to support the students. She was supporting the students and not like other schools supporting the teachers. She was inspiring the teacher to be with the students. But listen also about that. She taught us how to invest our money by a very simple thing. At the beginning of each year, she asked every student to participate in the funding of the canteen. She is the first one I saw that made crowdfunding. So I participated at the beginning of the year with 5 piasters, which is like cent in America, only 5 cents at the beginning of the year. And at the end of the year, she gave us the profit in the source of the school products. So she gave us exactly the amount that we should have won, but she doesn't give us money. She gives us rulers, chocolate, products from the canteen, products from the library, and things like that. And just by paying 5 piasters at the beginning of the year, at the end, I had like two pencils, and one ruler, and one rubber, and a piece of chocolate, only for 5 piasters. And if I paid 1 penny, 1 pound, I get so much more. So she taught us that the cent or the piaster that you save today or you invest today, tomorrow you will get it even more and much more. So she was very innovative in many things. This is just one example. And all my colleagues that graduated from these schools, they are very motivated. They have grit. They have confidence. And she created a generation that really did beautiful things. And I'm very grateful for her. She passed away a few years ago. but her daughter is continuing her steps, and I'm very grateful for her and for having her in my life.
That's a wonderful story, Mahmoud. And you know, for others, just for us, what we're hearing is she did impact your lives, but there were so many other students who are not in the room today who also may be feeling a lot of the kind of support you felt, the lessons you learned from her. So you have no idea how, and she may not have even thought that she's being a leader. She was just going about doing her job and see the impact that they have, that she's been able to make.
Yeah, we always called her Mother Mahasan.
Uh-huh. That's great. I want to hear from one other person in the room. What was their experience of someone who's a leader in their life?
Yeah, here, Mahmoud.
Please.
I won't share, but like it's a little bit complex because it's kind of related to politics. I find that many people here in Egypt are really leader and they defend their rights and uh, what they say and their ideas. But unfortunately, they have like to go to jail for things like this. Uh, but I think these kind of people they are really leaders because they defend their ideas and the consequences of these things. So that's what I want to share.
Is there someone in your life, Mahmoud, that you look up to when you're feeling unsure about something or you're trying to make an important decision?
Yeah, I look to like my father and my uncle. They were like a very supporter in my life. My life, and my mother too. She supports me a lot. For
Okay.
my uncle, he was like the first one in our family, like to go to college. So when I was like a kid, like 10 or 10 years old, he was telling me about science and science experiment and how people travel to space and all this kind of education. At that time, no one in my family had this chance, and no one knew about education. So I was like inspired, and until now, I have this this instinct to like to study science and about research and do all this kind of stuff. So I'm grateful for him. He made something in my life.
Yeah. And what are you studying now? And what grade are you in?
I'm like a senior student at Faculty of Pharmacy, University of Sadat City, and I am following this passion to study scientific research. So after graduation, I am planning to go and study master degree in the field of public health and data analysis. Because in this field I can make a change in especially in social science and its relation to public health.
That's amazing. Now, just think
Yeah,
about
so, yeah.
yourself when you were 4 years old or 7 years old, and at whatever time your uncle shows up in your life as someone who's gone to college, you saw something in him that sparked a desire for you to take charge of your life. You chose to go to school, you chose to then do pharmacy, and now you want to do a master's program. So you
Yeah,
see the difference one person can make in your life. And from what you end up doing with your master's degree or your undergraduate degree, you go into practice in pharmacy, you will, from your experience and from your work that you're going to do, the number of people's lives you're going to impact, think about that effect. That ripple effect of one person, your uncle, has made possible for you to influence other people in your life.
yeah,
You see what
exactly. Yeah, and I am currently sharing this knowledge now with my sisters. I have Alhamdulillah I have three sisters, and I'm sharing this knowledge with them. Like they should go to education, and they should like get the best education they can. They should like learning English language. They should learn about programming, Photoshop, all these kind of skills. And
Terrific.
also in my village, I am trying like to learn like younger students about like how can they improve their education and the available chances they can have. So I see this is like this kind of tree now. Like imagine that my uncle had like to just teach me, and then I can teach all these kind of people, or all my family and or my village. So this has like a big impact.
Great. Great story.
Yeah.
And all of you, thank you for sharing. What I want, for those who've not shared yet, you'll have a chance to share. But what I want you to take away from this conversation is you yourself are a leader, and that there are people around you who have made a difference in your life, big or small, and that they have been leaders to you as well. So when I started with my sort of the big names that we all know as leaders, that is accurate. But what you have also shared with us is also accurate, which puts you in the seat of being a leader. So that's something for you to not forget, that you yourself are a leader. I'm going to quickly pivot because I know we're a little bit short of time, but I'm going to do my next slide, which is what the leader does. You're able to see it says change maker. Are you able to see the slide?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So how does a leader operate? And if I ask Mahmoud and I ask Maram, Khalid, all of you who've shared with us, you would say that you have gone through this, right? You're a change maker because you've taken ownership of your life. You fail. You acknowledge that you have failed, but you stand up, you dust yourself off, okay? And you get back in action. And there's success. There always is. As long as you believe that this is failure, I'm going to get myself back up, you will succeed. The fact that you just get up is success. We just don't see it the way because we're so blinded by people and media and all of them only showing people who look beautiful, who have a lot of money, who have, you know, done something great. But what I'm again trying to bring home to all of you in this room is you have that in you. You just need to recognize it, acknowledge it, and the more you do it, it brings you to what I was talking about as confidence, which is another important characteristic of being a leader. The more you fail, the more you get up, dust yourself off, and get back in on the horse, as they say, you're building confidence. Because next time that happens, you'll know that, oh, I should not do that because last time I did it, it didn't work for me. It upset me. It upset someone else. So when you're failing, pay attention because there's very important lesson in that for you. Doesn't matter for others, but it's for you, right? So that's what that circle looks like in my mind when we think about what a change maker looks like. I want to hear from someone who has not spoken. I see there's Fatma. I also see Al Hassan. Are you following? Maybe you can ask Dr. Mahmood or me. But I'd like to hear from some of the other folks who are in the room. Mustafa. Are you shy? Let's hear from someone who has not spoken.
Hi, I'm Hassan. I'm not shy, but all participants here, everyone has a leadership in his life, but I see I'm leadership of myself. Anyone heard me?
Al Hassan, can you, so let me ask you a question again, and thank you for speaking up. Can you share something about your own experience when you may have either failed or something stopped you? And then, you know, if you followed the previous conversation, we talk about leaders in our life. Was there someone who helped you through that? What was that like? Where did you end up?
Okay, I'm leaving himself because my father was died when I have 19 years old. After I entered the university. So I'm the biggest one of my brothers. I have a sister and one brother. So he took him the responsibility of his life to take care about of our family, sisters and brothers, and I make plans for me to the future. I face many problems. I facing me alone without any supporting of anyone. So now I'm graduate from production engineer, and I am working as R&D and mechanical design in one of big companies here in Egypt. Work in recycling. Now, no one, in my opinion, I didn't see a leadership can influence me. But the other participants have another one. But me, I didn't have a leadership.
So let me see if I understood you. So one, you are currently you're doing R&D as a production engineer, and you believe that you have succeeded because of what the hard work you have taken on and done. And that's how you feel that you have come so far. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
So who Al Hassan has been someone who has been alongside yourself when you had any doubts or you didn't want to continue?
Can you repeat your question, please?
So who in your life would you say has been a friend or a support or a mentor for you?
I have friends. I have friends that support me, but I need someone can direct me to how make our future, to plan how to make the plan my future very well, because down here in Egypt we have many circumstances, we have many problems. We facing the young here in Egypt facing have a lot of problems here. So I need someone who can influence me and direct me and tell me about your experience. I didn't found someone can tell me about that. In my work, I work alone because there is no support, any supporter with me in the work. So I think I'm quite alone.
Okay,
So,
well, okay, thank you for sharing that. And Al Hassan, first of all, I want to acknowledge your courage. And this is again a quality of a leader, is to be courageous. In the face of being uncertain, being afraid, Al Hassan has shared something with us. And if I understand you correctly, Al Hassan, you have worked hard to get where you are, and you have found that you don't have the kind of mentorship or the support, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, very good. So again, coming back to what I just shared on the screen of someone who is making a change, whether in your life or the lives of others, if you're seeing right now, you are stopped because you don't have someone who you can speak with, who can guide you or mentor you. But that's, if you're seeing that as a barrier, I also want to acknowledge you that you have actually not been stopped by it, that you are actually doing something about it. You have enrolled in a program. You are also working and you want to be a production engineer, or you're doing that. The fact that you are in action, you could easily have gone back and done nothing. And we know there are people who do that too. They have a hard time getting up and doing something. So acknowledge yourself for doing what you are doing. And the one other suggestion would be is to talk to people, even sometimes people you may not know. You just don't know who is out there, who once they know what you're up to, they may take interest in what you're doing because it might be something of interest to them. Or it might be something that they may have gone through a similar kind of journey. But the important thing, again, as a leader, what Al Hassan is pointing out is don't get stopped, but also speak about it. Because imagine if if we're building Aspire Institute, or Jenna and Hannah are helping put the word out, if they didn't come to you, talk to you, you would have no idea Aspire Institute exists. It was an idea of 2 Harvard Business School faculty, but it was just their idea. Ultimately, it's the people who do the work, and they came to us, and then we grew, and now our community is growing. And it's happening, Al Hassan, because we're speaking to people about what we're doing. So don't hesitate to speak with people, and you just don't know. And that's how, Jenna started speaking. She found Dr. Mahmood, and then Dr. Mahmood has been in touch with all of you. He is meeting us. He's meeting a lot of new people through Aspire. So that network will continue to grow. So don't be afraid to speak, okay? I'm going to close the session because I know I've taken up a little bit more time than anticipated. I want to share one last slide based on what we are discussing. What is leadership? What we have uncovered is leadership is everywhere. It's with Al Hassan, it's with Fatma, it's with Mahmood, all of you, it's in us. It may vary in degrees, okay? What we also learn is leadership is dynamic. It doesn't look one way. Today it can look one way, tomorrow it changes. If you're a leader and tomorrow you fall down, which will bound to happen, are you going to get up? Going to do something about it? Or are you going to give up? It's constantly changing. And with those two in mind, when they come together, I promise you, your confidence will build. So don't get stopped at any stage of your life. You just can't. I think about myself, I don't know if, like, I was driving and there was pouring rain and we were on a highway, and US highways, if you know, people are driving 70, 80 miles an hour. And I was so nervous and I just wanted to stop because I couldn't see, 5 feet in front of me. And I had no option because I told myself if I stopped, someone else driving behind me at the same speed is going to run into me. I just could not stop. So if you think about life is like that, you have to move because the day you don't and you stop moving, that's the end. And you've all also spoken, Maram has spoken about the leadership that's already building in her, that's already in her to have gotten her how far she is today. So remember that. So with that, I'm again going to pass it back to Mahmood and to Jenna to talk more about the Aspire Leaders program. If anyone has any questions or closing thoughts, I'll pass it back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Meena. I think leadership is something that I sometimes speak about it like it's like going to the gym. So you're gonna learn things, but the most important is to do what you've learned and to train and to try again and again until you're fit. And after you're fit, you continue also training so you don't forget how to do it. Thanks a lot. And now, Jenna, please go ahead and we are starting with the info session to know what is Aspire Leaders Program, how it can help me, how you can apply, lots of beautiful things Jenna is going to tell us about. I'm so interested to hear it. And you can share your screen. Please let me know if there's anything, any difficulty. Yeah.